Thank you for helping us with our Financial Literacy Week. I'm Mrs. Brock. I'm the Signature Program Facilitator. We also have Ms. Barnstead, our Signature Lead Teacher, with us today, and we are so excited to welcome some of our Business Advisory Board members and our Financial Literacy members. Monday's Advisory, you all learned some very important financial literacy lessons, and you had some wonderful questions. So what we wanted to do today is present those questions that you had to our panelists and let them answer them for you, so that when you finish this week, you are just going to have a wealth of knowledge in relation to how you become financially literate. Where do we go? Like, I hear all these different terms that you're bringing up: the bank, credit union, IRAs, stock market, cryptocurrency. Where do you think is the best place that a teenager now can put their money away to save?
Yeah, that's a great question, Joanne. Again, this is Terry Grant, and I'll take a shot at answering that question. So I do invest, and I've been investing for many years now. And if I was to talk to my teenage self, given the technology that we have today, I would advise teenagers to look at saving money through investments as well. They have certain apps like Stash that allow you to invest as little as $5 into major companies like Nike or Apple. And those are great ways to save money and really learn about investments, because Stash will also teach you about investments as you make your investments. It is good to begin your investments early, because the compounding effect of investments is paramount over time.
I think one of the things that people should really take advantage of is the matching program. It's extraordinary how much that can accelerate your savings. If you just think about if a company matches, if you put 2% of your salary into your savings and they match 2%, then literally on day one you've doubled your investment. And that's got a huge compounding effect over time. So
Mr. Angelo, what do you mean? You mean a company will just put free money in my account? Can you explain that a little bit?
Yeah, there's companies will provide matching programs, because it's just part of their incentive package and benefits when they're trying to hire people, and it's a way for them to attract folks to come and work at their company. So it's just part of your total compensation. Your compensation in general is just not your hourly salary, your hourly wage, or your salary. It's all the other benefits that you get from a company. Meaning, like, you can get health benefits, you can get matching benefits. So it's important that you take advantage of that, because that's really a great way to accelerate your savings and building your wealth by taking advantage of what a company will match. So you should always do that and do your best to try to maximize that.
Speaking of that, how do I become an investor at a young age? Like, how do I learn about the stock market or know what to invest in?
I can take that one. I think first of all, you need to kind of define what it is that you're trying to accomplish. When I think of the term investor, I think of long-term as opposed to a saver, maybe something shorter term. So I think you need to set goals, for one, to figure out what it is that you're investing for. Is it for a college education? Is it for a home? Is it for a car? And then look for utilize your resources. The internet's a tremendous resource that you can utilize. There are plenty of books that have been written over the years. I think A Random Walk Down Wall Street was mentioned, that you can look to for advice as to how you approach investing, what type of investments are right for the goals that you've set, and educate yourself. First and foremost, don't just jump into it because someone else said it was a good idea. Understand what the risks are, understand what the rewards are.
And I'd like to piggyback off of what you just said, and that was great information. So when I first started to invest, I went to lunch with the CEO that I was working with at the time, and he said to me, I thought it was great advice. He said, first thing you want to look at are companies that you patronize. Look at companies where you are buying most of your items and companies that make you feel good about those purchases. And also, you want to be social by you want to invest in companies that sort of match your social responsibility. And what he meant by that is, so the first part, I love Apple products. I'm just going to use Apple as an example. I love their products. The lines are always long. I like the feeling that I get when I'm in the store. So then it showed me, okay, this is what he meant. But every company that you invest in isn't a store, but they create products. So when you find a product that you really love, kind of look into who's making that product, and then look into the company and make sure that this is a great company. And then you want to look at that company again to see if this company is doing anything that doesn't match your social sensibility. And what I mean by that, if you find out that this company uh, hurt animals to make their product, and you feel like, well, I definitely love animals, so I don't want to invest in this company. So you want to really do your due diligence and look at those items before you make your investment. But that is piggybacking off what you just said. I just wanted to add that on.
I'd like to say that a beginner's option is the mutual fund.
That's how I started, because it had people smarter than me picking what stocks were in the mutual fund, and I didn't have to think about it. And I had the automatic deductions from my paycheck going in all the time, and that's how you grow it. You take advantage of all the company perks, everything you guys just said. But yeah, mutual funds are a great way to go. And
It's important to note, if you are under the age of 18, you can't open an account on your own. You do have to have an adult. You have to have a custodian. Typically, those accounts are called UTMAs in the state of Maryland. It's your money, but you have an adult that co-signs on that account. If you have earned income, setting up an IRA is a great idea. You can do minor IRAs, which is tremendous for having future savings. But mutual funds, great. They provide diversification, so you're not having to pick an individual stock. ETFs, which are exchange traded funds, work very similarly, sometimes less expensive. So all fantastic options.
Yeah, and just one more item to add to how to learn is learning by doing as well. And so if you do open up an account, you start small. You put a couple $100 in there. You kind of test things out by as Terry said, buy things that you like. Buy Apple if you have an Apple iPhone. If you go to McDonald's a lot, buy McDonald's. And so you start to see how the actual investing works, because you go online, you have to pick your trades. You've got to pay for it. There's a period of time when before it sells and closes. You get the understanding of how the actual process of investing works if you have your own account, and you start small so that you don't risk a lot of money.
To follow on that as well, if you're concerned about doing it for real, if you're concerned about losing the hard-earned dollars, you can simulate it. I think most of us have smartphones. On my iPhone, I have a little stock chart. I can go in if there's a company that I'm interested in. I think actually when you open it up, Apple's already in there. If you bought, a share of Apple or a couple shares of Apple today, how would it do 6 months from now? Would you have made money? Would you have lost money? And it's a good way to understand your emotions as an investor. We all get emotional about our money, and to learn, what it is that you want to buy. I like to, if you see a company ride by, obviously we all have Amazon trucks driving everywhere. Can I buy Amazon? You can. A restaurant, whatever it may be, Five Below. Are these companies that I can buy stocks in? Are they of interest to me? Those are all great places to start.
Good point, Ron. And then there's cryptocurrency, which is sort of a new investment. It would be the new money, if you will, for the future. I invest in that as well, Bitcoin and Ethereum. It is very new. I don't advise students to really put much money into it right now. You have to learn about these things. But if you do have some extra savings that you want to try, again, you can invest in those at very little amounts as well.
We never have cash. So we don't ever really carry cash, and we do everything now through electronic apps and transfers and so forth. So are using applications like Venmo and a good idea?
I think Venmo and PayPal, Zelle is one that they're fantastic. They're convenient. I think back to the days before they existed and having to write checks or send in money in an envelope. Especially those of us that are parents. You're doing gifts for your children's coaches or for your teachers. This Venmo and PayPal has essentially eliminated that. As with any online banking, you just have to be vigilant. We're at a point in time where a lot of those systems are used. There are a lot of bad people on the other side trying to get to your information. So be mindful of that. If you're going to put your bank account, attach your bank account to a Venmo or to a PayPal, just understand if those systems get hacked, then your money is at risk. So certainly be mindful of who you're providing that information to, and monitor the activity in and out of that account.
Yeah, and just one other comment on auto deduction, automated payments and electronic payments. One of the other areas that is kind of tangential to this is the your credit cards and having it attached to things like Uber Eats or Netflix and items like those things they're all set up now to make it very easy to pay, and you don't even realize that you're paying them. And the fact that you actually don't physically take money out of your pocket and hand it to somebody to pay for things, you kind of lose track, and they make it very easy. And it's almost, you have this feeling like you're not actually paying for anything until the end of the month comes and your bank account has been dwindled or your credit card bill is through the roof. And it's a bigger and bigger problem these days because of automated payments and things like Uber and Netflix and HBO Max and whatever. You got all these automated things. So you really have to be careful and be vigilant about looking at your credit card statements, look at your bank statements every month and see what you're spending on, because these things add up quick and they can take from your savings without even seeing it.
I was just thinking that I just started my first summer job, and I want to know, even though I'm not 18 yet, do I have to pay taxes or file taxes? And how about college? I just want to go to school. I don't want to have to worry about any of that stuff.
I can jump on that. In most cases, if you have a job with you're getting a paycheck every week, every 2 weeks, you get you've filled out a W-4 when you've taken that job. You're typically going to have taxes withheld from your pay. You're going to have federal taxes, state and local taxes. You're going to have Social Security and Medicare taxes, all withheld. And that's all itemized on your paycheck. The good rule of thumb is, if you do have earned income, if that income is above, and this year, 2022, if it's above $12,950, you absolutely should file a tax return. I would say that even if it's below that, you may want to file a tax return, because all of the money that you've paid in taxes, you may end up getting back. Mm-hmm. And there are a lot of resources that are out there, Tax Act, TurboTax, that actually allow you to file taxes for free. So, certainly don't assume that you don't owe taxes. Don't assume that you do owe taxes. Utilize your resources. And worst case scenario, if you go onto one of these free sites and enter the information from your W-2 when you get that, at the beginning of next year, that information, will be there for you.
I just want to say something about that. It's important to pay your taxes, because there will be things down the road, such as a mortgage, that they will want your past taxes. And so if you're not paying it, you're not establishing that you've been making money. So it actually helps you leverage your money later by showing what you've been doing over a certain amount of time. So you want to get into it and be a legitimate taxpayer or business owner.
Yeah, you probably won't put this on the recording, but the Internal Revenue Service is not someone that you want knocking on your door.
Exactly.
Ever.
I think we should leave it in.
Yes.
Or just going into your account, because they don't have to knock.
Oh,
They can
Yeah.
just take. They don't have to knock. They
That's
just
true.
take.
That's true.
Thank you all so much for coming with us today and for answering our questions. You've been wonderful. And thank you for dedicating the time to our students. And students out there, if you have more questions, we want to answer them for you. So don't be silent. We want you to talk to your parents. We want you to continue this conversation with your friends. We want you to continue the conversation with your aunts and uncles. Don't be shy about it. The more we learn about being financially literate, the more that we can make this happen. So thank you all once again for joining us. And without further ado, we're all going to say goodbye, and we hope you have a great day.